Welcome to the Ordinary People Do Extraordinary Things podcast. I'm your host, Michael Esguerra, and today we've got a very special guest. His name is Michael Murray. He writes under the pen name M. James Murray, and he's the author of Far From Ordinary. And so excited to have him here. Hello and welcome. I'm just going to ping Mike in here, and we will get him in. There he is. What's up? What's up? Let me pull you up here, and we're going to get this party started here. So let me send this invite here. Oh, I can't see because the lighting in here. I'm trying to, okay, hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. Sent the request. He should be up here in a moment. And we're going to get this party started.
There we go.
Hey, how you doing?
Man, it is good to see you, my friend. How you been?
It is great to see you as well. I've been great. I did a little mini introduction, but I guess I'll do a more formal one, and then we can jump right into things if you're cool with that.
Absolutely, for sure.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Ordinary People Do Extraordinary Things podcast. I'm your host, Michael Esguerra, and today we've got a very special guest. His name is Michael Murray. He writes under the pen name M. James Murray, and he's the author of the book Far From Ordinary, which I'm a proud owner of the book, signed copy as well. So thank you so much, brother. Man, we worked in learning and development for many, many years. I apologize because I forgot the title. Talent management, or maybe inform us. What are you doing nowadays?
Well, I think most importantly talking to you, but in my
Yes.
day job, I'm a senior talent management specialist. So working a lot in terms of L&D still, actually, in terms of my everyday role. So do a lot of training programs, a lot of leadership development, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Cool. How are you liking what you're doing nowadays?
I love it. I think it gives me the opportunity to kind of combine a lot of skills that I'm, number one, good at, and number two, that I really think make a difference for people's lives at the end of the day, which I think is so important, right? That we have the opportunity, I think, very uniquely to kind of impact people at a really personal level in terms of some of the things I'm just able to get across and be able to do, I think I think the most impactful thing about my role is often the leadership development. And so I talk about that a lot, but it's really changing people's lives for the better, hopefully, and not being afraid to kind of lean into those conversations for whatever that means. And I think that's kind of an awe-inspiring thing that I wouldn't have expected myself to be in 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, so yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Well, that's awesome. And I think those things are important, right? To not only leverage your skills, but also have a positive impact on people's lives. I'm a big advocate for that. I strive for that every single day as well. I think your cat and dog just joined us as well. So happy to see them here.
Yeah, they're very talented, don't you know?
They're probably the type of pets that flush the toilet as well, eh?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so cool. It's so cool that your cat and dog have an account. Otis and Koda, it is, right?
Yeah, Otis is the cat, and Koda is the dog. So Otis is the elder statesman. He's all of 6 years old at this point, so very much a grizzled veteran. And Koda's about 1.5 years. So we got her at the beginning of pandemic. So she's one of those pandemic puppies when people were really wanting to get one early on, and just like the shelters were just emptied for the first time in forever, but we happened to find our little monster, and yeah, we love her for it as well.
Oh, that's
sometimes
awesome.
Most of the time.
She must be grown because you got her as a puppy, like a young pup, or what?
Yeah, she's 80 pounds now, which is probably about 20 pounds more than they said she was going to be. So, and when she's filled out, she'll probably be closer to 90, unfortunately.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, you can imagine the amount of food that she goes through as a growing dog as well.
I can only imagine. Probably eats as much as I do.
Probably. Well, definitely more than me, and I eat a lot. So I don't know what that is, but
that's amazing. There's a follow-up question, but I don't know if I want to ask that follow-up question right now. So just around food and eating and.
No, go for it.
No. I suppose so. We can go anywhere we want today. I honestly, I'm enjoying just seeing your beautiful face. like I said, we worked together for many years, got to sit beside each other, got to know each other, very well and become good friends. And yeah, I just appreciate you. Even like speaking at the conference that I put on 2 years ago, right? Like,
It's, and
absolutely.
it's, we were talking about this today, but it was 2 years ago that we were speaking at Change One, and it's awe-inspiring to see where you were back then in terms of, your vision and where you wanted to take it versus what you've been able to do despite the fact of a global pandemic happening. And I think that's really something like hats off to you, like kudos for you and sticking to your dreams and going to that. And I think um, oftentimes we talk about lollipop moments. And I don't have you heard of that before? Like lollipop moments?
Lollipop moment. I think so. There's a TED video, right? TED. TED.
It is from a TED Talk, and I watched it today, so it's like very much in my memory right now. But I guess for the benefit of the audience, what a lollipop moment is the fact that we don't always tell the people who matter to us the impact that they have on our lives. And I could say that's exactly the case for you and I. I think when I first, started in the business and really tried to figure out what that meant, well, I was kind of, yeah, you were a very important part of that. And I think, yeah, I just want to recognize that in this very public forum of everything you've done. And thank you for it as well.
Wow, I feel absolutely honored and blessed, and thank you for your kindness and your kind words, because wow, that was absolutely unexpected. And man, tears are like coming to my eyes right now, and I'm like, we are live on Instagram right
Yeah.
now.
What else could I do to make you cry? I don't know.
Damn you. I just, in all honesty, like from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And, oh, damn you.
So now I'm going to ask you a couple.
Oh my gosh. No, in all sincerity, thank you, because you're right. Okay, so the vision is the same. We want to talk about like 2 years ago and where I was. I know exactly where I was 2 years ago, and I see, the stuff that I'm doing today. And honestly, like, I never envisioned myself doing all this stuff. Like, I knew I had to learn and grow, and, definitely learning and growing. But, like, for example, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I guess it would have been, we took a leap of faith together, right?
Right.
And like the vision is still the same as, that day we took that leap of faith together. Well, not together, simultaneously, maybe we could say, you wrote this book, and I pursued MBA learning. And I just, again, the vision is the same, but the person on the inside right here is completely different, learned and grown so much. And I mean, what am I trying to say here? I guess I do it, yes, to have a positive impact on other people's lives, but most importantly, a positive impact on my life. I think when it's all said and done, if I could say that I've learned and grown, I mean, that's all I could say. So I want to say thank you, because I think you verbalizing that, you having that lollipop moment, kind of like confirms the growth that I was kind of speculating that I've been having. So thank
Yeah.
you.
And I think it's like in a plane, right? Like you put on your own oxygen mask first, because in order to do that is really the steps you need to do to be able to help other people in that journey there as well. And I think you figured that out first, as maybe other people weren't. So it goes to say, like, and I think it's a wise man once told me that the universe kind of provides as necessary, and I think that's kind of something that comes back around for those comments as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, no, you were the wise man that said that. I would just say that the universe does not make mistakes.
Well, somehow they're one and the same as it happens as well. But
What could I say? Great mics think alike.
that's right. Yeah, that should be a T-shirt slogan of some sort.
I'm about it, man. Christmas season is around the corner. Like, you know.
See, we're getting about the same haircut. I think in a couple of years I'll be where you are as well. So yeah, we're just coming together for sure.
Just imagine, if only I could grow the beard out. That would be the thing.
Well, I guess, yeah, it's one of the small blessings. It's kind of migrated from north to south, but I'll take it where I can get it, I think.
Awesome. Carl's saying is that to be the hardest worker in the room. Yes, bro.
Well, I mean that's an alludement to my iPhone background, and one that I talked about with him at length. In fact, one of the things early on that I really wanted to get was the mindset of what it meant to try to do something like what we're doing. And so for me, it was really making sure that every day when I looked at my phone, which is probably the thing, unfortunately enough, that I look at the most, that I had that affirmation of being the hardest worker in the room, but also staying humble. So it comes from that rock quote. I'm sure you've heard it before, right? Be hungry, be humble, but always be the hardest worker in the room. And kind of going from
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. I think we have someone that would actually buy our shirt. Great Mikes think alike. So, hey.
There we go. We're have to do a market. And I think that's from, yeah. Oh, that's Mikey, who's on, I believe in Northwest Territories right now as well. So you got literally viewers from all over North America happening here, which is super exciting for you, my friend.
Wow. If you are a Mike listening in and you want that Great Mike's think alike
Yeah.
shirt, send
We
me a
got to do like
DM.
link in bio and point up top or something.
Exactly. We should do a pose so that we can freeze frame it. Do there you go. Okay,
I'm
I'll
guessing
screen.
that's Photoshop after the fact. I don't know how this technology works, but I'm sure you figured it out.
I don't know, but we'll make it. We'll make it. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing. Yes, it does count if your middle name is Mike. Sure, we can get you a shirt as well.
Yeah, we don't discriminate. I think it's everybody can be a Mike if they want to be, essentially,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. There we go. We got our second idea for a shirt as well. Everyone can be a Mike. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to sub-franchise here and get into the t-shirt business, of course, which I'm assuming is probably the direction of which you wanted this call to go when you first asked me to join.
Well, hey, you know what? You've already brought me to tears. Now I'm like tearing up laughing. So let's see what other tears can come out.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, how do I bring this conversation back on track here?
For everybody joining, I'm an expert at railroading, so I'm just going to continue to do that as we go about this conversation. So,
But you know what? I think it's great because it's absolutely, who you are, your personality. And this is what I love, open, organic conversations. And I feel like we're just hanging out here. So hello to everyone. People are saying hi. So hi, everyone. Good to see you all. So bringing it back on track, if I can. What can I talk about here? What can we talk about here? Tell us more about your book. You wrote this book here, Far From Ordinary. What inspired you to write this book?
I feel like I've been a writer as long as I can remember, if that makes sense. Like I knew from a very early age that it was something that I wanted to do. And I think biggest for me was trying to come to terms with what that meant in terms of trying to, earn a profit, make a living, but also kind of pursue my passion in terms of that, right? So you talked about it before, but, I got the very unique opportunity to be able to leave a job, which I loved, to give me an opportunity to pursue what I loved even more, which is the passion of writing a book,
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea itself kind of came about I think it came out, and I see Andrew on the call, so I'll call it that as well. It was a drinking game in New Year's Eve, like 2016 or something like that, and we were just kind of going back and forth, and I was being stupid, I'm sure. But and I mentioned Andrea because she was at that conversation, as were a couple other people who have tuned in here this evening. And the idea that came from that conversation became the basis for this novel. and
Wow.
and so I thought, first of all, it was trying to understand what kind of writer I was, what kind of writer I wanted to be, and then trying to move on from there as well. But somehow, when it came to that very first book and trying to get it, from in here, which is the convoluted jumble of nothingness, to on a page and being legible and readable, it just so happened that a lot of, I guess, my personality came out of it. And I didn't expect it to be funny. I didn't want it to be funny. I had a different mind, but when I kind of read it back and thought about it, it just kind of clicked in terms of what the character should have been. So it was kind of an interesting journey in that way to get to where we were. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or if I was just rambling, but I guess a little bit about where it came from more than anything.
Cool. You know, it's a little bit of both, to be honest. But I think it's so cool that, you know, it came about from like a drinking game, and then all of a sudden it becomes this novel. But it is quite humorous. Like I look at this, and when you look at the cover, you know, when I started reading, I was like, I didn't really know what to expect. Maybe some sort of like mystery, and I don't want to spoil it or anything like that. But let's just say, you know, I've had an like what do you call it? Like a felt all the emotions. You know, like I laughed, I cried, I just, you know, and I got so many like references. And then because there were moments where I forgot that you wrote the book, and then I'm reading it, and I'm like, that's totally something Mike would say.
So if it's the bad parts, yeah, that was me. That was somebody else. But if it was the good parts, yeah, absolutely, I'll lean into that for sure. But I love that you said that, because I think that's such a compliment. So thank you for that. You know, I think one of the struggles with writing, oftentimes, and I experience it still to this day, is the confidence piece. You know, and you know me well. Like I'm a confident individual. I come across most of the time as such. You know, but you still get that crippling anxiety and self-doubt which comes with putting yourself out there into the world, you know. And it's like, a book is fiction. It's fiction. It's not real circumstances. None of the stuff in there happened to me per se, right? But just by putting it out there, you kind of make it real and make it associated with yourself. And that comes with a tremendous amount of just crippling self-doubt, you know. And there's days where I read it, I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. I just really love what I did there. And then I'd reread the same chapter and be like, that's garbage. I can't believe I ever tried to write that. You know? And sometimes it's even the same day, just kind of going back and forth. And it's just that you need to come to terms with it. You need to move forward with it. You need to have the confidence in yourself to say, like, hey, yeah, this is something which, you know, I'm passionate about, which I hope I'm good at. And that I hope people will read, and read so with, you know, being entertained, not just for the sake of knowing me and wanting to read it, you know?
Yeah. Wow, you touch on such a powerful topic. And to be honest with you, I do see you as a very confident person. And I don't actually, you know, see you as somebody who maybe would have some fears of putting yourself out there or anything like that. Because honestly, like I felt that when you said that, because like I was really, really in a space where I feared other people's opinions. I really did lack confidence. And I know when I say that, other people kind of see the same thing with me. It was like, no, you don't lack confidence. Because like, well, I mean, we would stand in front of classes all the time and speak to like
Totally.
tens of people, like thousands of people in our lifetime, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that on the inside, you know, well, I'll speak for me. On the inside, I wasn't shaking in my boots, right? But I'll be honest with you, my goodness, like we talk about personal growth. Ah, man, the inside is finally like in alignment with, you know, who I want to, you know, put out there on the outside. It took work, years and years of work, but it can be done. It can be
Totally.
done. So I want to put hope out
Yeah.
there for anyone out there listening that, you know, you can be, do, or have anything that you want to be.
And it's not to say being nervous is a bad thing either, you know. It means that you care about something. It means that you are, you know, worried about its outcomes, and that's okay, you know. Like you mentioned the standing in front of training rooms thing, and I totally agree with that, you know. And to this day, you know, whether it be 5 people or 15 people, like I still get nervous before I get up in front and speak to people, you know. And I don't think that will ever go away. And honestly, I don't think I want it to, because it's just kind of this nervous energy that you learn to control and hopefully make it better, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
What's up to my friend Rich Rise and Rach? It's great to see you.
well, I don't think I'm scrolling down. I can't see the comments necessarily, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to somehow subtly acknowledge people as they pop in and say hi. But no, I appreciate what you say there. And that's the thing, like it's this energy, nervous energy. And, you know, we could let it stop us, or we can leverage it and, you know, use it for the better. But, you know, it takes practice, it takes work, and it takes intention to do it, right?
Totally. Yeah, none of this is natural, or I guess it is to a certain point, but it's all skills that you work on, you know. And it starts at one point and you just continue to work on it, you continue to improve it, and it gets better, you know. Whether we talk about, you know, leadership development, whether we talk about writing, or, you know, whether we talk about building a business, you know. Some people are naturally good at those things and other people aren't, but everybody can work towards it. You know, I think that's an important takeaway for everybody, you know, that, you know, that theme of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Well, how did we get there? Was a whole bunch of elbow grease and probably a lot of wine along the way as well for me. But yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I've got this saying that if you can learn anything, you can do anything. And, you know, you think about all the successful people out there, you know, all the greats like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Mike
They
Tyson.
can buy our Mike shirts, right? Well, maybe not Michael Jackson, I guess. But
You got where I was going with that. But in all seriousness, you know, how did they get to be great, right? They learned, they grow, they practice, they, you know, they continued with it. But I mean, they weren't born like an NBA superstar. They, you know, if they progressed over time, they learned, they grew, they built the skill. And that's the thing for anything. You put in the work, you learn the skills, you can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really well said, my friend.
Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of like ask a little bit more about the book, but more like the process. Because like, so you said you were like a born writer. Like, how long have you been writing for?
You know, it's probably since I was like 6 or 7 or so. So like really, really young. And yeah, that wasn't good. I wouldn't recommend anybody reads that stuff. I don't even think I have it anywhere, but it started in terms of just that, essentially, right? That, you know, I'd watch a show and I'd like copy it down on probably some sort of like binder like this. And then, yeah, I would create it as my own. But it was like early on, I kind of had this fascination with the process, if that makes sense, right? You know, and I think it fueled my education. Like I went to school technically to become a journalist, you know, and somehow along the way I found myself in human resources, which is probably a longer story than people want to hear here, but I think it's interesting to kind of see the difference there in terms of what that really came about, you know. And I was trying to be intentional about it, and I fell into something different. I was managed to get back and kind of reclaim it a little bit later on down the line, you know. But as soon as I started treating it like it was a skill, like it wasn't just something that, you know, you could do and sit down but to be diligent at it and kind of have the discipline to go every single day and get your quota and do those things. I think that was probably I don't know if I can say this because of copyrights, but like the TSN turning point, so to speak, you know. It came with realizing that it wasn't just about, you know, being good, it's about intentionally working towards it, to your point, you know. And so I had a quota that I would try to hit every day, and that quota started really small and it got bigger and bigger as I got more confident in it. And I think a really interesting thing that happened during the creative process, Mikey, was that the book kind of took a life of its own, if that makes sense, right? That I had the sketch of it overall, you know, and the sketch was like, okay, character starts here, they go here, this conflict, and this happens, conclusion. And I'm writing this book, and then there's a point I stopped and I'm like, this outline is garbage. Like, it's not useful anymore, because the characters had like taken on a mind of its that I didn't expect it to happen. They took on a mind of its own, and then all of a sudden the book went in a different direction. So like, there's no way that Sarah would do this, right? Like, there's no way that this would happen in this circumstance given the characters present. And it kind of, I don't know, it was kind of an interesting lesson for me to kind of figure that out, because it was like I was there and I was reading my own book as I was writing it, if that makes sense. You know?
Absolutely, it makes sense. And it's, you know, I appreciate you sharing your story, and because like I think it's a very relatable story, you know, where life kind of takes you to this direction and then that direction and then this direction, and
Yeah.
that, you know, like it's okay to be multifaceted. Like, why not be an HR professional and an author at the same time? Like, who's to say that we can only do one thing? Like, why can't we do more than one thing?
Right. Yeah. And if you're passionate about it, like what's stopping you, you know?
Yeah.
And I think figuring out what it is specifically that is standing in your way is huge, you know? Like that empowering question. If you didn't have anything standing in your way, what would you do? You know? It's like, well, why are these things in your way? Are they actually obstacles, or are they obstacles that we're putting up because we're afraid of something? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could tie it into the theme here of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, I think it's the people that do extraordinary things are the ones that ask themselves that question and think of those extraordinary things and like really pursue their dreams, right? That just like go for it. The people that just go for it. And like your story there of how the book just started to write itself. Like if I could get super spiritual with you for a moment here, like that, I believe that there's something working in the background for everyone to help to sorry, let me rewind. There's something working in the background that is working in everyone's favor, that is really supporting you to what it is that you desire. Now with that belief, like you taking that belief and pairing it with your story there, like you're writing the story. Yeah, you had an outline, but as it started to come about, it was like, well, hey, in order for all of this to happen, here's here's what needs to happen. And it started to just come through you as, the universe, or you can call it God, source, spirit, energy, creator, whatever it is that you want to call it, this universal force that is working to support you, helped give you the ideas to glue all of those things together. And I think that is the case in a lot of different things when you start to go all in, and that support just comes out of nowhere, right?
And I think the important thing too is that go all in piece as well. Like I've spoken a couple times about what it means to be a writer, both at Change One and some other conferences as well. And inevitably there'll be that one person that comes up. It's like, well, what's the difference? Like, why? It's like, well, I don't know. You're probably more talented than I am, but did you give up on it? Like, did you stop? Did you keep going? And oftentimes, and I tell this to people all the time when they ask, the only difference between a published writer and an unpublished one is that the unpublished one stopped trying, So I think for sure, yeah, just to add to that, I think that's a big part of it as well, just kind of leading in and not giving up if it's something that you really want to do.
Absolutely. Bro, man, I wish you were on Clubhouse, man. I talk about this stuff like on a daily basis on Clubhouse. I'd love to have you on there. I'll send you a message after this is done, and we'll try to get you on
there. Yeah, I don't know what that is, so it's a great opportunity for me to learn about it as well. So yeah, for sure, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I met awesome people like Mary on Clubhouse.
Oh, nice. Hi, Mary. I don't know if she's here or not, but yeah.
Oh man, no, absolutely powerful. Like, I appreciate you, brother. Like such a great story, and that, like, for people to hear, I think they can resonate with that, and that whole concept of like not giving up. Like if you're absolutely passionate about something, keep going, because you're right. Like when you think of the successful people, right? Think about the successful people. They're resilient, right?
Yeah.
They never got, not only did they put in the practice, they worked on it every day, but they also didn't give up. It's not that they didn't experience failure. They experienced a lot of failure, I'm sure. Like look at like Michael Jordan has that quote. Wayne Gretzky has that quote, right? There's so many different quotes. I'm gonna shut up for a bit because I feel like you're chomping at the bit, because like you know what I'm trying to get at though, right?
I heard a story the other day about Jeff Bezos, so the founder of Amazon, and it was like 1997 or something. Like it was before Amazon was big, and he pitched his idea to this board, and everybody shot him down. So McNally Robinson was trying to get into the online phase of that part as well. Like there's no market, you're never going to succeed, so don't do it. And now just one of the richest people in the world, right? And it's just like, yeah, it's awe-inspiring for sure. But that came because you see an idea, you believe in an idea, and you don't let anybody tell you differently from that conversation.
Yeah, I feel that. And that is so inspiring. Like, don't let other people kill your dreams.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like other people will come in and they'll just, sit honestly, and no offense to anyone out there, but sometimes, people will come in with their own limiting beliefs. And like that story with Jeff Bezos, where they say, oh, I know it won't happen. There's already another bookstore that exists that's way bigger.
Yeah.
No. If Jeff Bezos listened to them, then we wouldn't be able to buy our Christmas gifts online so easily.
which is probably a different story altogether, but I think it's a great story to see how he got to where he was.
Absolutely. And honestly, like the picture that is always resonating in my head for some reason is that picture of Jeff Bezos in his garage with like a banner it's like, I think it's like spray painted like Amazon.com. You know which one I'm talking about, right? The messy desk with all the books on it, right?
Yeah. Instead, you know, it's exactly that. It's where you were versus where you're going to be, or where you want to be, you know. And yeah, if you want to be diligent about it, then be deliberate about it, you know. And if you're not, then, you know, I don't know if you're doing yourself justice in those conversations as well, you know. Like, so many people live their life by accident, but not on purpose, if that makes sense, you know. And
Yeah.
so lead into that, like figure out, like, where do you want to be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? And what's stopping you from getting to where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much power in that, and just like setting intentions, having a vision for where you want to be in the future, and then taking steps to do it. Put together a plan and start taking steps.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, I mean, even if you don't accomplish that vision, right? Man, you will have learned a lot along the way.
For sure. Guaranteed, if you do that exercise today, 5 years from now, it's not going to look anything like what you wanted to look like today. But if you're being intentional about, you know, how you're moving forward with it, like, I think it's a game changer, you know.
And bringing that point full circle to you writing your book, right? That whole process of like, here's the outline, you start writing, and then all of a sudden, you know, this book starts to write itself, and you it's a different product than what you had originally envisioned. You know, it's still the end product. It still has the essence of what you originally thought of, but it was different, and that's okay. That's the way that it needed to be in order for it to come to fruition.
Yeah. And just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong, you know, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is another vital call out there as well, for sure. But yeah, just
Absolutely.
move forward with it, whatever it looks like, and be happy with that and be proud of it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, bro. You know, I'm so amazed by you and what you do and like just everything, man.
Well,
Like,
and
and
vice
I'm so
versa, my
proud of
friend.
you. What's that?
I said, and vice versa, my friend.
Ah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And, you know, again, I'm so proud of you for writing the book, Far From Ordinary. If you haven't already picked it up, I will put the link in my bio. I'll put it, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put the links in the description because I think you have a different one for Canada and US. Am I not mistaken?
Yep. Two different
Awesome.
stories for sure. So 2 points from that. First of all, buy it. Just go out and do it. I think it's, yeah, a paperback is like $9.99. An ebook is significantly cheaper than that. So go about and do that. So first one is buy it. Second one is rate it 5 stars before you read it. So making sure that you have that there as well. You know, you'll probably rate it 5 stars anyway, but just in case, yeah, rate it 5 stars and then read it.
There you go. Rate it
Really,
five
for
stars, and then after you read it, if it's not 5 stars, you can downgrade it.
if you really want to, but I'll sign it. I'll send in a free signature if you keep it at 5. But
Hey, there we go. That's awesome. Carl has a message here. Like investing, put in the little work each day, and it builds on itself. Compound interest in your life. Absolutely. Yes, Carl. Absolutely. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. Right?
Absolutely, start somewhere, build from it, keep yourself manageable targets and goals, and then execute on it. You know, and yeah, you're only, and well, I guess in my case, because not everybody here is going to be an author, but I'm only an author if I work at it. You know,
Yeah.
and there's been times where I haven't. There's been times I've just been too tired, but there's also times where I kind of really just have that craving. I have that itch to just go about and create something, you know, and I think those moments kind of keep me going more so than anything. So,
Yeah. Can you give us a little teaser or a little hint of a project that you're working on, maybe an upcoming book that we can expect? Do you have any
yeah.
teasers?
Well, I've actually completed another book, believe it or not. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I
Um,
didn't know.
and I went to New York to sell it. This was August 2019. And then the pandemic kind of happened, and not much traction has happened as a result of that. But I think, you know, here we talk about the momentum and everything and just being diligent. Like, I think this is now the time for me to try to put that back out to the world again. So I've got that coming down the pipeline. It's been completed. It's actually my very first book, the one that I started like probably 10, 12 years ago and just never finished. But finally got to that point, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to share with you guys all really quickly.
Awesome.
And when I
Did you
say
say?
quickly, it's relatively speaking, it's probably still like a year and a half, 2 years away, but that's quick in the authorial world. So
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, 2 years. That's nothing. That's super fast.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, what's 1 to 2 years in pandemic, I think, right? Time has stood still anyway. So
It stood still, yet it went and fast forward. I don't know how that works, but it
it's
happened.
it's an interesting phenomenon for sure. So once you figure that out, let me know because I'm curious about it as well.
Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, let's put it out there in the universe. If there are any, what would it be? Like publishers, or who would you need to help you with this book here?
Well, publishers would be good. Agents would be good if there's any agents that are looking to have a chat and learn a little bit more. I'm happy to take your call. I'm sure I can fit time in my calendar. So
Wait, isn't it usually the other way around? Is that how that works, or no?
I mean, yeah, for sure. But I think if I'm putting it out there, you never know what you might get back as well. So
That's fair. Well, if there's any publishers or agents out there that's watching this, M. James Murray. Well, Far From Order, this is his first book, but he's got another book in the hopper. So DM him. That's the guy right there. Make sure to DM him. I'm gonna go through my Rolodex to see, if I know anyone that we can hook you up with. And yeah, brother, I'm looking forward to it. So I've got one more question before we wrap this puppy up here. Or that
for sure.
doesn't sound right. I don't know if we should be wrapping this up.
Yeah, we get what we're saying. I get what you're trying to say for sure. So go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Cool, man. Well, if you had access to a billboard and you could put it anywhere in this world, what would you put on the billboard and where would you put it?
Well, that's like an interesting question that I could take in so many different ways. you know, I think my first instinct would be to take my book and blow it up into a billboard and put a nice tagline on it, put somewhere like Times Square, New York, somewhere where just millions of people are going to see it. But I would also probably, if I were to think about it from a really kind of holistic perspective, I would also probably take out a second billboard. Again, probably with the proceeds made from the book and the first billboard from Times Square, and probably just put something about living your life on purpose somewhere, somewhere visible where people see it and kind of somewhere where I can maybe make a difference in people's lives, So right back to the lollipop moment, I think as human beings, there's so many things that we take for granted in terms of just the connections we have and how we, help and support other people. And I think, I would love to continue to write and do that for a lifetime, but I also love what I'm doing currently because it gives me the opportunity to do that, just help people hopefully improve their lives for the better. So I think, yeah, I know I kind of took your question and changed it around a bit, but I would love two billboards. One selling the book, the other one with that feel good kind of life message, I think.
Well, that's awesome. You entered the cheat code for that one, but it absolutely works.
Up, down, down, A, B, A, B, start, minus, yeah, Konami, go.
You got it. You unlocked all of the levels there. So that's so awesome, brother. And I love how you tied it back to the lollipop moments. And I'm gonna share one with you, brother. Like, I appreciate you so much. You were so supportive of me early in the journey. And I knew, like, from our conversations, like, you believed in me, even though I never really believed in myself all the time. But you're always there. You believed in me. You asked me good questions. You supported me. And bro, I appreciate you so much. So thank you from all of my heart.
Right back at you, my friend. It's been way too long. Maybe yeah, we can do this again soon if you like as well, but maybe let's just connect as well, just in general. It'd be great to see you.
Absolutely. Definitely will. Well, thanks again, Mr. M. James Murray, the author of Far From Ordinary. Make sure to buy his book. I'll put his links in the description or the comments, wherever I can put all the links. I'll make sure that we link that up. Make sure to give him a follow on Instagram. And also, if you aren't already following me, follow me on Instagram as well. And turn my notification bells on so that you know when we go live, because we host these quite frequently. I don't know, every 2 weeks, but I'm going to try and up it. So hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and do these interviews. So I think that's everything, unless there's anything else you wanted to add before we close this up here.
No, I just really appreciate the opportunity. Again, it's so amazing to see you again. And yeah, looking forward to more conversations like this in the future as well. I guess if you'll have me back, for sure.
Of course I will have you back. Actually, just a real quick thing before we go. We kind of spoke how we were at the conference. November 30th is going to be the 2-year anniversary of the conference. And so we're going to be hosting a special live. I don't know what happened to my light here. Oh, it unplugged. We're going to be doing a special live. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to go. I plugged it in, but it's off right now. We're going to do a special live, 4-way live with 4 of the speakers from the Change One conference. Hopefully we get to see Mr. Michael Murray there, but if not, there will be speakers there. We'll be live. It's going to be an amazing time.
Perfect. Looking forward to it, my friend.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, brother. I appreciate you. Again, buy his book, Far From Ordinary. And I will put the links up there. And thank you, everyone, for investing the time and energy to watch this video. Thank you again, Mr. M. James Murray. And remember, if you can learn anything, you can do anything. All right. Take care.